Modern historical adventure novels. The Charles Hayden series by S. Thomas Russell. Hi, I'm Gary Lovisi, and now we're going to take a look at a series of books, historical adventure, which is a genre that really has not been investigated, explained, understood. It's collected, but it's not really, doesn't get the attention that it deserves. I wrote a book about it in 2006, Modern Historical Adventure Novels, and it takes all of these books into consideration. Basically what it is a series of adventure novels set in a historical period, usually the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, the Napoleonic era, the Roman Empire, any of those type of historical eras, and there's a hero, and the hero continues in certain in books in that series. So it's a series. It's not like Treasure Island, which is one book written by Stevenson. It's a series of books with the same characters. Sometimes it has similar characters. Other additional characters that go along with the main character. So, I mean, this goes back all the way to the classical historical adventure, back to Homer, because he wrote two books. He wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey. In the Iliad, there's the story of the fall of Troy, and Ulysses is one of the main characters in that book. And then the next book, Ulysses, is a whole story of Ulysses and his adventures and roaming the world. So even from that point on, up until like the Three Musketeers and all of that, you have classical historical adventure. And that kind of ends in the 30s, 40s, and 50s with C.S. Forester with his Hornblower books. And the Hornblower books were great naval adventure during the Napoleonic era of Captain Hornblower, who is a very interesting character, who is the hero, and his stories are just terrific. There's, I think, 12 books in the series. And from that point on, then you have what I call the modern historical adventure novels. And there you have people like Patrick O'Brian with his series of Aubrey and Maturin books. You have George MacDonald Fraser in 1969 with his Flashman books, and many, many other series. And in my book, Modern Historical Adventure Novels, from 2006, I went through all of these series. It talks about all the different editions, paperback and hardcover. Because some were only published in paperback, some were only published in hardcover, some were published in England and then reprinted in the United States. So there's so many series, and they're all like great fun. Now, what I want to talk about is that, my book came out in 2006, so I was not able to put in the books by S. Thomas Russell, which the first one came out in 2007, and that's Under Enemy Colors. And these are books. There's 4 books in the series, and then he didn't write any others. He wrote other fantasy and science fiction novels, but nothing in the historical adventure genre. He's a Canadian who lives on Vancouver Island, and he is a person who is used to sailing boats. So he understands all of the nomenclature of sailing, the lines, the rigging, how the wind affects the sails, and how to sail a ship on the ocean with the tides and with all of that. So these are really great books. The first one takes place in 1793. This is not Napoleonic era. This is before that. This is the time of the French Revolution. And his hero, Charles Hayden, is a British Navy lieutenant who is his mother was a French woman, and his father was a British sea captain, and his father died in battle, and his mother remarried and went to America. So he was by himself growing up, and he's a very loyal Englishman, but he is half French, and he grew up in France, and he loved France. But he talks about, and you see the through his eyes and what happens, what's going on in the French Revolution. The reign of terror is going full tilt, and people are just being attacked, killed, beheaded with the guillotine for no reason at all, or just because people just point fingers at them, and it's horrible. So he's in the British Navy. He's not trusted because he's like half French. There's in the first book he's put onto a ship, the Themis, with a captain who is a extremely vicious brute. He's very treats his sailors like dogs, but he's also a coward. And they talk about shyness in the vernacular of the British Navy, to say when a captain or somebody is shy, it means basically that he's a coward. He's shies away from fighting. He shies away from doing his duty. So he has a captain who actually sets him up for a court-martial and for execution as treason. So he's fighting his own battle with to remain a lieutenant in the British Navy. Along the way on this ship, he meets other characters, and these characters will continue with him on this ship in the next 3 books. So it's a great series. And the second book is Battle One. And these books have great cover. These are the back covers. This is the first and second book in the series. They have the map of a lot of where the action takes place off the English Channel. So there's England and there's France over here. And there's only like a 20-mile difference between, but there's a lot of activity going on. And this is pre-Napoleonic era. This is revolutionary France. And it's a very interesting time of what they called in the United States the phony war. And Battle One is the second in the series. And the third book is Take, Burn, or Destroy. And the fourth book, which I can't see without my glasses, which came out in 2014, is Until the Sea Shall Give Up Her Dead. In these books, Hayden has to he goes on secret missions. He goes on, and his captain is given orders to send somebody to France to investigate that the French are building up an army to invade England. So they send him, and he has to go onto French soil because he speaks French and he knows the French countryside. Meanwhile, his captain leaves him there. They strand him there and then say that he's a traitor, and he brings back the information, but it's by that time more things have changed. He's sent to use his ship to go after a phantom French ship that's sinking British ships in the English Channel, and there's privateers that are basically pirates that are sinking other ships and taking them captive. So he's going after those ships. He goes also into the Caribbean, into battles in there. And in the meantime, there's the whole story of the men that are involved with him on the ship, that he has great friendships with, great adventures with. He meets a beautiful woman, and there's a whole story of all of that. But also he talks about the interesting thing is he knows sailing, so he can explain when the ships are fighting each other, how they move in and out, how they maneuver, and how they're able to use strategy and the tactics that they use to fight against other ships. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. If you like the Hornblower books, these books are even better, I think. There's only 4 of them. He hasn't written any others, but they're terrific. He's written some science fiction and fantasy books, some door books in the in a couple of series. He also writes under T.F. Banks and Sean Russell, and his name is Sean Thomas Russell, full name, but he writes these as S. Thomas Russell. So these are the Hayden series of great nautical adventure and war books. Terrific to read, and I recommend them most highly. And I hope you'll give them a try, because they're well worth it. Now, thank you for looking, and we'll see you next time.